Hey YouTube, Meef Magnet here. Welcome to episode 27 of our FTB Continuum Quick Tips and Tricks. So this episode, um, we're gonna go over some of the basic stuff to get to uh, like the industrial grinder. We're gonna go over some auto farming for sludge, and then a device called the Resonator. So let's go take a look. Last episode kind of went over what it's going to take to get set up with a little bit better ore processing. So we looked at grinder 2. So this is the industrial grinder. The reason I wanted to get this set up right away, it probably should have done this earlier, but live and learn, I guess. The industrial grinder at the expense of liquid will output more ore, I guess. So let's take a look at the bauxite ore here. Let's look at the dust. And I kind of went over this last episode, but if you look at just the manual stuff here, even the regular grinder, you're picking up 2. But take a look here at the industrial grinder. Here it's outputting 4 with a chance, or maybe it's all pulverized aluminum. So that's pretty sweet, and that's the expense of 1 bucket of water. So just keep in mind that this machine is there. It probably would have been a better idea for to actually set this up sooner. Like I said, live and learn. So so you might be wondering, why in the hell is this bauxite shit so important? Titanium specifically. This is making it significantly easier to get that titanium set up for the rest of those machine blocks. Let's see how this bad boy works. So this industrial grinder, we'll get this bauxite in here. I actually have an overclocker upgrade that was a bonus for creating this. Okay, so that's there. It actually pumps this up to 80k RF rather than 40. And you can see that there is a draw here. That's not too bad. The one thing that is kind of a pain in the ass is the water situation. I don't think I'm going to change this for right now. I'm just going to keep kind of doing what I've been doing here. I suppose I could speed this up slightly. And these fucking machines. There we go. Full. If you didn't know you could do that, you can throw tanks on top of those and they'll just fill all the way up. Those kitchen sinks, and it's their water source. And look at that. Look at the amount that's come out of there. And we've only gone through, what, there was like 50 something there? I mean, that's a shit pot. An absolute shit pot of dust coming out of there, which is good because the titanium, definitely going to need that. If you've been following along with our better questing stuff, you can see there's a shit ton of machines that I've skipped through here. Just because I haven't had the titanium to get that put together. So keep that in mind. We'll let that guy go for a while. I think let's just put this here. You can see there's a collection of shit here that comes out of that machine. If you haven't figured out how to automate that, we can look at that in just a little bit here. Kind of went over its previous episodes, more of how you manipulate the sides. Okay, so that's the industrial grinder. Let's go take a look at some auto farming stuff. Now, I haven't set this farm up completely, and I haven't done that for good reason. Let's take a look at Resonator. So this machine, and we're going to get to why we need this, but we need to make a resonator. Okay. Let's look at what that costs. Resonator. Pretty simple machine. We're looking at some obsidian, some redstone crystal. Should find that down when you're mining, but we're looking at quartz enriched iron. So this isn't really complicated to make. It's just refined iron, another quartz, and then another piece of refined iron will get you this. We need 5 of these to start with. We're looking at 15 seconds, so 225k RF at 750 RF per tick. Not all that difficult. We're looking at molten aluminum, 144 millibuckets. So that's like an ingot. But then we're looking at sludge. And really, at this point in the mod pack, the way to get sludge is from the plant gatherer. Now, I've got the plant sower here. I'm not going to set this up yet. I'm going to leave that for a few episodes further into the future because I think I'm going to have to farm out nether wart soon. But let's go check out what I've got going out here. As you can see, our plant gatherer is just hanging out here with a whole bunch of trees and shit. Let's get rid of some leaves. Let's take a look at what's going on. So 0 millibuckets of sludge in there right now. Let's use our handy clockwork engine here to pump this thing up a little bit. And let's take a look. Now this machine is a little bit on the slow side. I think you can upgrade this. And it's kind of selective about what it's got going here. And I have kind of cheated this a little bit because I think default, I'm not sure if the gatherer itself, it's only set for that first piece there, because I think you have to upgrade this. So I'll throw a block of wood in there and see how now it's filling up. So 20 millibuckets out of 8,000. So this will kind of just do its thing. It seems like it needs to have something in front of it in order to start working, but since I've got these trees planted so close to each other, it should start chopping this shit down and doing what it's supposed to do. So right now it's taking all the leaves off of there. It should shear a lot of that stuff off, so that's where the saplings and apples are coming from, and then once it's all done with that, it'll start stripping this wood, assuming it's got enough juice to do so. Okay, so 140. You don't need a ton of this stuff, you just need some. I didn't run this very long. Right now I don't have a use for this plant gatherer, because for the kiwis inside, it pulls the whole plant out. So some of the Pam's Harvest Craft stuff, it functions a little bit different, which is okay. It's just something we'll have to figure out. I might supplement some potatoes with this setup. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. So I've got a fluid transfer node on the side of this thing for the tank, so once that's ready, it's just dumping in there. So I did create a couple more tanks for the EFAB. Depending on your setup, if you're seeing weird numbers and like, why in the hell won't this fucking recipe work? Check to see how many pipes or gearboxes or whatever you happen to have on your EFAB setup. You'll notice up on the left here, I've got a bunch of shit hanging off the side. A lot of this stuff is upgrades. And I've noticed that, for instance, with this stuff, the number to start kept reporting like 1500 RF per tick, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, because I had an extra set of pipes on here, it was trying to speed this craft up. So the power went up, and that's why it wouldn't work. So keep that in mind. As long as this is one multi-block structure, you should be okay. So I've got sludge and molten aluminum here. Okay. So once you've got yourself 5 of these quartz-enriched iron, build yourself a resonator. Now, they're not all that complicated to make. At the same time, you want one of these manual mills, and those also aren't very difficult to make. They're just some redstone torches, some polished stone, and more of these resonating redstone crystals. This is just a few redstone torches and a piece of wood. So the manual mill is kind of just like the clockwork engine, except it's for extra utilities to the resonator. So let's go up on the roof. And I'm going to put a hole in the roof so we can fly out of this bitch since we got jetpacks now. Now you can see I've already got this set up. What's going on here is I've got solar panels and then lunar panels. So solar panels are relatively cheap. For this set anyway. Just some lapis, resonating redstone crystals, and then polished stone. And then the lunar panels are lunar reactive dust, and this is actually made in the resonator. And then the way that works is you just throw it in here, and then start smacking this thing. And you can see the grid power on there. Right now it says it's power generating at 15. That's kind of what's going on. Let's take a look at how the hell this actually works, though. We should probably get some lapis on this just to show it. And we can do that relatively simply. Let's get some blue in there. We can do one of these right away. That should be all right. And let's throw this guy in here. Okay, so you can see that right now it says there's some grid power in there. So that's being generated by the solar panels, or, yep, solar right now. But you can see it's done its 5.72 out of 16 GP. So GP is kind of the energy unit for these things. This is a newer set of mod packs for me, so I'm not sure. There's definitely different machines for producing power here. But it seems like the recipes and shit are different, and I haven't found all those yet. So let's take a look and see how this works. Right now there's 5.72 built in the Resonator itself, but let's pump this up. You only got to right click it once, and then it just keeps going. So you can see the grid power increasing here. Once it hits about 16, it should reset. And there it goes. And that's it. So the craft is done here, and we got a lunar reactive dust. Okay, kind of cool. So why in the hell did we build this Resonator? Well, if you've been paying attention to this, you're going to see that there's extreme energy here. And this is where we're going to start cranking out ass loads of RF. So we can crank out ass loads of ores from the Void Ore Miner. And this is where things get a little bit expensive. So let's take a look. We've got some reactor casing here. We've got a whole lot of stuff that we need to actually build. So hot tungsten steel, industrial blast furnace. This is automatically going to have to be upgraded to advanced machine casings. And let's take a look at those. Is it advanced? Let's look up machine case, because it might be something else. Yep, it's advanced machine casing. So we're looking at chrome. And then these data control circuits. These really aren't that difficult to build. They're just expensive and time consuming, but keep that in mind in order to make the reactor casing, or the advanced machine casing to get the hot tungsten steel. We're going to have to upgrade the industrial smelter there. So hot tungsten steel. Uranium, this isn't that difficult to process, but it is expensive. So the reactor casing core is kind of expensive, but the reason we needed this Resonator is for graphite bars. So this HOP graphite ingot shit that we kind of talked about maybe an episode or two ago is going to go into here. And I actually have one of those. Let's see what is the requirement here. 32. And I don't know, I might not have enough shit here to actually build this, so I might have to get another machine. I don't think there's enough grid power to make this happen. So let's take a look at this. There are some other machines here. So there's hydroelectric, so this is 4 GP per side on flowing water for a maximum of 16 GP. That might be handy. Might have to do some water manipulation here, but there's thermoelectric, so it's 2 GP per lava mill, so you could literally put a bunch of these over the top of lava. I think that's how it works. Is it horizontal? Yeah, that might be something we'll have to research a little bit, but then there's also this smoky power, so if it's over fire, we might be able to set some netherrack on fire and put this bitch on top of it and see what happens. So, but I don't think this is actually going to work the way this is set up now because it's maxed out. Yeah, so it's looking for 32 GP. Probably could do this with more solar panels if I had a bunch of those. They're really not that expensive to do. but I think it's going to require some of the other machines. So, but that's about it for this episode. I wanted to just kind of touch base with this resonator stuff because once we build that big reactor that's going on the roof here, I might change the way this building is laid out a little bit. And then it's build some of the other machines, getting sort of close to AE2. There's this cyber storage stuff. It looks like this is a AE2 knockoff. I don't know if I'm going to chase this right away. I think I might bypass it if it's possible. Might have to go through this. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. But going to need to get some serious material in here. It looks like the Final Frontier, a lot of this stuff is unlocked now for going into outer fucking space. So I'm not going to start working on that yet. I've got too much other shit going on right now because I don't think I have the materials for it anyway. Yeah, this is another multi-block. I don't think I have the real estate to do this. I'm gonna have to build another part of a building, I think, to get this set up. I've got that magnum torch there to kind of keep the mobs out, but I might have to kind of reorganize a little bit here. So just wanted to get that out there, kind of something to think about. I think the material cost is going to be a little bit exorbitant. So keep that in mind. Until next time.